Welcome back everyone. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 10 money-saving tips for your wood shop. These tips are definitely useful for woodworkers, but they can be useful for just about anybody who even has a small part-time wood shop out of their house or garage. Tip number 1, furniture dollies. If you want a good price on casters and you're trying to put things on wheels in your workshop, the most economical way to do it is go buy yourself a furniture dolly and either harvest the wheels off of the furniture dolly or adapt the furniture dolly to your workshop situation. I recently bought some Festool sustainers as tool chests. I wanted it so that I could wheel this whole stack of sustainers around the shop. Now, Festool obviously sells a sort of a dolly or a cart, but being Festool, it is obviously quite expensive. What I did is I purchased a furniture dolly at a home store for $35, brought it back to my workshop. I took apart the furniture dolly, shortened the frame, and then put it back together again so that it fit my sustainers perfectly. Now this is something that you can do if you just want the casters off of it. That's easy enough. If you buy the casters separately, they usually cost quite a bit more. The furniture dolly that I bought was $35. Even on Amazon, I think I would pay that price for just one caster. So this was definitely worth it and a really great money-saving tip. Number 2, batteries. The most commonly purchased power tools that you're going to see, it's going to be the drill and impact driver combo kit. Now you're going to see that from different brands. They're not just common for wood shops. Obviously, every household buys these at some point. They are one of the few power tools that actually go on sale on a regular basis. Especially if it's a brand like DeWalt or Makita. They're very good quality. Makita in particular makes nice light power tools. But what's really good about Makita in particular is the lithium ion battery. They're much longer lasting than a lot of the cordless batteries that you see on the market, and they are very expensive if you have to buy more of them. The batteries themselves usually cost more than the combo kit that came with the batteries originally. You are much better off buying just another combo kit. As silly as it sounds, it makes sense to do so. You'll double the amount of batteries you have. You may get an extra charger as well if you get the right combo kit. It doesn't really hurt to have an extra drill and impact driver. These batteries work with my circular saw as well, and any other tools that I buy going forward that are cordless. Number 3, the trowel handle hack. This trowel cost me $4.99 at my local hardware store. I didn't even go to a big box store to buy them. You can pick them up all over the place. You can probably get them for cheaper than that. I bet you could find them for $2.50 if you really shop around. You just take the screws out with the trowel part. You don't really need that. And then you've got yourself a nice handle that's nice and solid that can be used for a sanding pad or a push pad. This is a really cheap and easy way to get one instantly. Number 4, harvesting old furniture. There is a lot of old furniture out there in barns, in junkyards, at garage sales, at flea markets. A lot of it is free, especially furniture that was made in the 1980s, for example. I got for free a huge oak cabinet that was built in the 80s. It looks like an 80s piece of furniture. Not particularly attractive. The finish was what you would expect. The oak itself is what I wanted to harvest for other projects. So there was a lot of solid oak in that piece of furniture. I was able to get a coffee table and a few other smaller pieces of furniture out of that one cabinet. If you live in a big metro area, you will find that often on garbage day or at certain times of year, people put old furniture out to the street and they contain solid wood. Particularly the tops of cabinets and dressers, you will get a nice piece of hardwood out of that. If you have a thickness planer, it's easy enough to cut it down and then run it through the planer to get the finish off, and now you've got a nice piece of hardwood that's already flat and ready to be used. Number 5, saving your sandpaper. Some of you may not know that you can actually prolong the life of your sandpaper, particularly on your sanding belts and your sanding discs. You can buy this wonderful little pad here. It's called the ProStick Abrasive Belt and Disc Cleaner. Cleans the sanding surface so that any residue or dust that has built up and stuck to the sandpaper can be cleared out. Here is a sanding pad I have. I think it's 150 grit. I can Give it a few passes on here and it's already cleared out some of the residue that's stuck on the sandpaper. All I have to do is turn on the sander. And my belt sander is as good as new. Number 6, cheap clamping. If you don't have money for clamps, because clamps can add up really fast, you can buy a lot of them at places like Harbor Freight, Canadian Tire, places like that will carry some deals on clamps. Really good clamps are very expensive. In the meantime, you can save money and still do effective glue-ups by using wedges. Make yourself a bunch of wedges and use some scrap wood to get things blocked together, especially if you're gluing up things like panels or even tabletops. You can use wedges instead of clamps. All you need are basically 2 blocks of wood clamped down or screwed down to a work surface. You can get nice even clamping, and in fact, in some ways, I consider this a better system for clamping because what people tend to do is over clamp their work, especially tabletops where you see a lot of cupping and bowing. That's usually from over clamping. Number 7, polycarbonate panels. Now, you will find polycarbonate panels for things like greenhouses, roofing. To hold these in place, I use a little piece of common window hardware that you can find at pretty much any hardware store. And it's actually made at exactly the right size to fit in the hollow end of a polycarbonate panel. A lot of manufacturers that make these panels sell special hardware and the cost can really add up. This is a really cheap and easy way to hold a panel in place into, say, a wooden frame, and it's just like a custom solution that's made for it. Number 8, if you're making either a router table or you're making a table to mount a power tool into, power bars are a great way of having an instant switch for your power tool. Then you can mount this right onto a tabletop or onto the side of a table. You can buy special switches or you can make your own switch using electrical components that you can find in any hardware store, but this is a really great instant solution. Number 9, table saw blades. Depending on the type of work that you do, you'll be switching out your table saw blade pretty regularly. Most of the table saws that you will buy nowadays come with a 10-inch blade, and those blades are actually pretty expensive to replace. The cost can be pretty substantial and it can add up quite quickly, especially if you're doing a lot of woodworking. From an economic and safety standpoint, what I've done is I switched out my 10-inch blade with a 7 1/4 inch blade. Initially, I used a framing blade, and that's actually quite effective for all-purpose work. But if you are using a lot of plywood, like I am, you can get yourself a 40 or 60 tooth blade, especially made for plywood, in the 7 1/4 inch variety. That still ends up being almost a quarter of the cost of the 10-inch blades that you would normally buy for your table saw. Downgrade to a 7 1/4 inch blade is a great way to save money. The arbor on most table saws is exactly the same. Usually the blade can perform within the RPMs for your table saw unless you've got a really powerful 2 or 3 phase table saw, although I would check the rating on the saw blade just to be safe. Number 10, the panel door hat. I went to my hardwood dealer recently and I was looking for wood that I could use for a small cabinet that I was building, and I need to make panel doors for it. Making panel doors out of solid wood can be very difficult. You need wood that's milled dead flat. This is so you can get perfect alignment, and when the doors are finished, they sit flat against the face frame. That's why a lot of cabinet doors nowadays are made with melamine. I went to my hardwood dealer. I went over to another section of their store and I found solid wood fir flooring for $20 a bundle. Now I get 6 pieces for $20. Exactly what I needed to build the cabinet doors that I'm building. Not only that, because it's flooring, it actually comes with tongue and groove. Keep the groove side to insert your panel in. There's no milling required on your part. This is ready to go and easy to work with. Well, that concludes my 10 money-saving tips for woodworkers. I hope you found them useful. If you want to buy me a beer, head on over to my Patreon page over here. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. There are a couple more videos on this side you can watch. Until next time, thanks for watching and have a great day.